Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to Always Off Brand. I don't know what we do anymore. We simplify, we uncover, we unfilter, we undo it. We just talk real stuff about retail, about e-commerce, about it all. Scott Oshman here, one of your hosts, and I am flying solo today as I was gone last week, and I had a great opportunity. You'll see again, you know who the guest is. She's coming back. It's been way, way too long to have the great Iesha White, but we'll get her introduction here in a second. I just had a couple housekeeping. This is going to be a little bit different. So Summer Jubileer and Haley are not going to be on this one because I'm recording this out of sync here, just to be transparent, as the kids like to say, to everybody. This is a midweeker because I was gone and some other things that nobody really cares about, but I'm very excited. So everybody knows my obsession with sports and obsession with Amazon and how I feel like the two are colliding. But, you know, we'll get into that very quickly before we bring Iesha on. I just want to let you know, first of all, we're on the YouTube, kids. We are on the tube. All right. We're on the YouTube. All right. Go to Always Off Brand. Just search it. And we got a channel there through Quickfire. People apparently like to watch their podcasts these days. I actually find myself doing that a little bit now. So, you know, I'm with you. That's number one. Number two, big hubbub, a lot of noise about the top 5 retail podcasts on FeedSpot. Okay. Guess what? It's just 2 weeks away. We're now up to spot number 4. We're up to number 4, kids. I don't know how. I don't know why. Just to be very clear, I was texting another person. We did not pay for this, which is rare. It's called earned media, kids. It's very rare that we don't pay for these things. I have no idea how their algorithm. I'm very open about the Faithful 48. We have a few more listeners than that, but we're not doing thousands and thousands, okay? I hope we get to there someday. And if you're listening to this and if you're new and you like what you hear, please tell a friend. That's all. So that's that. And the last thing is we got E-Tail Palm Springs coming up at the end of February. Summer Jubileer, the one, the only, is going to be joining me down there. Haley, we couldn't pull the Haley Brucker off. I'm going to actually try and get her on the stream so she can come into the program. But that's February 24th through the 27th, 28th. So we'll be recording down there. And that's just basically, if you're going to be at E-Tail, let's talk. Okay. I'm going to be doing this Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to be, I don't know, the MC, whatever, for this marketplace track. So I'm working on, I got 10 minutes to fill. I'm very stressed about that, but I think I got a good one. It kind of ties into this a little bit, but without further ado, that's the housekeeping. And thank you to everybody who's listened and all that kind of stuff. The FeedSpot deal is hysterical. Number 4, baby. All right, let's get into our guest because we got some really cool stuff to get going on here. If I can start this correctly, she's going to get the real deal here. We're not going to chintz on opens or guests. Now I'm going to bring her onto the YouTube stage. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a former AOB guest. I mean, the absolute go-to. You talk about media, you talk about streaming, connected, out of home, in home, every home, I don't know. Formerly with the big tenuity, now on her own here with multitudesmarketing.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, from across the pond, Iesha White.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
I'm sorry I don't have the whole gang and the whole, we don't have what's that keyword game for you. You're stuck with me, Iesha.
I think we'll do just fine, just you and me. I know that you're very anxious to get started, talk all things sports. And I'm excited to talk all things performance marketing.
Yes, exactly. I left that out of the intro, probably screwed that up. But hey, congratulations on multitudesmarketing.com. Go to multitudesmarketing.com. She's got all kinds of services. She's got years of experience. She's played with the big boys, kids. She knows exactly how this game's played. She knows where the puck's going next, for another sports analogy there, a metaphor, right? So what else can you do for people at multitudemarketing.com? Go there now, by the way.
Yeah. I'm here to simplify media buying, planning, and strategy for ad tech firms, agencies, and brands. Nobody's too small or too big. So I'm always here to talk shop and share what I know.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So one of the things is when we talk about advertising, and Amazon's actually, this is coming out the next week, February 3rd, I believe, or the 4th, you'll see Amazon's earning report for the fourth quarter. So then we can annualize 24. Okay. And I mean, everybody is projecting, and I think it's a layup. They're going to hit over $50 billion in ad revenue. Iesha, you with me on that?
Yeah, I think that they are approaching Trade Desk level success. Trade Desk is probably like their biggest competitor in the space right now, I would say.
And they claim on the earnings, Andy Jassy, and I'll do hopefully my earnings. I have a lot of fun with my little earnings recap where I poke as much fun as I can, but I try to be fair. And they talk about sponsored products. And yes, that's on the price per click. That's on a search console. And that is huge. I mean, that is the mothership. It's still going. It drives a lot of stuff. But what is still a teeny tiny baby, what you've been doing your whole career, is this demand side, this DSP, this display. I don't know how to explain it to people who are not familiar with it. Do you have the 101 simple brief?
Sure. Yeah, the easiest way to explain it is the ads that you see on the internet, like the boxes and the videos. What those things that you see, that is generally transacted through a method called programmatic advertising, and it is done in a piece of software called a demand side platform, but no one calls it that. Everybody just says DSP.
Right.
So Amazon's got a DSP, Walmart has a DSP. There's another famous DSP called the Trade Desk. Google has a DSP. Microsoft has a DSP. So everybody has a DSP. We're actually in a consolidation era nowadays. There used to be, goodness, when I started media in 2015, there were probably like 30, 40 DSPs. Now there's, it's really quite condensed. We're talking about maybe 10 to 15 major players, depending on where in the world you're located and basically what you're looking to buy. And when I started, it was just banners and video. The end. That was it. That's all you could do. And now we've got connected television. So the ads that you see when you're watching, you're on your smart TV, when you're watching Netflix on your computer at work, wink, and you're not supposed to, and maybe you get an ad. That is also, you can also buy that. That's also programmatic. Ads that you see on your local bus shelter that have those digital panels on the side.
Yeah.
Those are bought programmatically. Like I said, when I started 10 years ago, almost now, that wasn't possible. So we've really made like leaps and bounds in the technology, and the money's proliferated.
Oh, God, it's been big. So just again, I like to explain this stuff for my purposes. Really, I mean, this is my passive aggressive way to figure out stuff myself. So when Amazon, when I was deep in Amazon and the Amazon Media Group, and they started selling us DSP services and all these other things, then it was OTT, over the top. And now they've changed these names, right? And now it's streaming TV, STV, it's connected TV. Can you explain the differences, or what is the language today in the acronym life that we should use?
Sure. The acronyms have changed like 40 times, so I don't blame you at all. And this is also controversial. People will argue, if I don't know if anybody here has ever joined the ad tech god Slack, I'll give them a shout out. People will argue about CTV versus OTT all day long. So CTV, connected television, I define it as it has to be a big TV. It has to be, your Samsung, your LG, your Sony's. It needs to be a big kahuna tuna. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be one of those. It cannot be, not on your phone. OTT to me can be any way of watching a streaming service, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on a tablet. So it's inclusive, almost like a really big Venn diagram. So OTT is all of those things, and then CTV is literally the device. Again, that is a controversial definition in my circles. People will probably hound me down on LinkedIn after this and say that they totally disagree, but I'm sticking to it.
Okay, I like it, Iesha. And what's the current name for the old-fashioned through your cable provider? There's still 60, 70 million subscriptions in the US. It's dwindling every day. Because of my sportsaholic addiction, I haven't quite pulled the plug on that. And by the way, here in the United States and where I live in the Seattle area ish, it ain't cheaper. Pulling the plug ain't cheaper. It's not, the motivation isn't to save money now. So, but what do you call that advertising? The stuff I see on my television, whether it's through a regional network, a local network, what do you call that?
Absolutely. That is generally called linear in the US. So you hear it referred to as linear TV. In the UK, you'll hear it often referred to interchangeably linear and broadcast. Some people just call it broadcast.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it just depends. Depends where you live and what you choose to call it.
See, I know we took some time with that, but that's really important to me to differentiate and to figure out, because all this lingo gets so goddamn confusing.
It really does. And
So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and then the lingo gets worse because you have all these different forms of ad supported platforms. So there's things like FAST, which is free ad supported television, right? So that distinguishes things from if you have a paying subscription and receive ads still versus if you're just free to air like Tubi, you don't necessarily need a subscription, but you're watching. So that's considered FAST. Then you have SVOD, subscription video on demand. Then you have AVOD, ad supported video on demand. Like the acronyms have to stop, everyone. Whoever's in charge of the acronyms, like, just stop. It's too much.
But this is, shout out to the marketing folks, because this is how you get more revenue, right?
Yes.
Because they have to piece out these products. We got an AVOD, you got an SVOD, you got, well, we're going to charge that for that. We're going to charge this for this. Okay. Now let's lay this into sports. I believe, this is just me because I've been on this, that live sports, and there's a ton of different confluences of major shifts in consumer and technology and reasons for this. But we don't, primetime television back in the 80s and 90s. So Cheers was a show I loved, or whatever you want to call it, the Thursday night. They would get 60, 70 million viewers because you only had 3 choices back then in broadcast TV. Today, with on demand, with Netflix, with all the different choices we have, there's nothing live anymore. That scripted television is really expensive. Unscripted is very popular, but still expensive. So this is why live sports and the amount of dollars that these leagues have gotten for media rights has just gone off it's ridiculous. It's because, can you describe that as an advertiser or as a marketer? Why are live sports so attractive today?
Live sports are attractive for a lot of reasons. One, it is still one of the, I would say, the few draws that do get people to tune in, relatively on schedule. I think now we've got this, we're lucky in a lot of ways. Like when you and I were kids, right? I had to be like, okay, at 8 p.m., such and such program is coming on. I want to watch Clarissa Explains It All or whatever. Nowadays, if I want to watch Clarissa Explains It All and watch a throwback, I just log into, Peacock, and I watch it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about when episodes drop or don't drop. I'll catch up on it later. So the FOMO's gone, and I don't have to worry about, I've missed an episode in my, my season long program, and I'm gonna have to wait till it goes into syndication now to catch up or figure out how to watch it or use a TiVo and record it. Right. We've taken away a lot of this like extra layer of confusion and trying to time, and and it's so automated now, and we have everything we want on demand. So I think because sports is one of those few things that you can watch it later, but you kind of miss out on the FOMO, right? Like you get a bit of FOMO, like, oh man, did you see such and such happen last night? So and so completed a hat trick or whatever.
It's the phone, the sports. If you're a sports guy and you have the ESPN app, or if you're any social platform, it's really, really hard to not find out what happened.
Absolutely. Someone's going to spoil it. And I also think that there is, in particular for the NFL, there is a very, how do I describe this? It's an institution, right? Like people watch Thanksgiving games while eating Thanksgiving lunch and dinner.
It's part of the fabric of the culture. It's the ritual. It's habitual.
Absolutely.
Even casual fan, not a fan, whatever. It doesn't matter.
People have fantasy football leagues, and they show up on Thursday nights, at the local bar, at the local pub, and start screaming at each other about who's doing worse or better and how their players are going to fare in the fantasy league that week. All sorts of stuff. And there's not that same level, I think, of fandom that exists for, like you said, unscripted television, just not to the same extent. So I think, combine the FOMO, combine the fandom, and you get the magic of live sports. And why that's attractive, it's a in some cases trillions of billions of eyeballs watching at one time. And then of course you still get all the benefits of the on-demand stuff later. People will want to recap, people will want to relive the moments, so you really get the best of both worlds.
Well, what has happened now is the linear or broadcast television is now opened up. And for a sports fan, sometimes we're in this age of it's actually confusing as hell, because like, oh, what's this game? And then it's like, where the hell is the game? I got to go look on my ESPN app to figure out what's streaming, what channel, whatever, where it is. But what's happening is, and Amazon was kind of led the way in this in a lot of ways with their huge NFL package they bought with Thursday Night Football, because Fox had it, CBS had it. I don't even remember, maybe NBC. No, NBC, I don't think it had it. Anyway, it had been footballed, literally, pun included. I mean, it had been footballed around because the major networks didn't want to do it. They didn't see it was a lower ratings. Okay. It was a lower average rating. So the ad revenue plus their production teams, they did Monday night, Thursday night, then to go Sunday night. It's just, they didn't want to do it. And so swoops in, here's Amazon, says, hey, we'll get into sports, live sports. We could sell some ad revenue for that. Right. So now that's a big part of the 50 billion. Their ratings have been up. They've actually now streamlined it, so they're pretty good at it. They got their first playoff game, which is big. And the other thing I just think to set the table here, Iesha, just for people, because I'm a nerd. I am into sports media. I have like 3 podcasts. I look at ratings all the time. What I say all the time is the NFL specifically, okay? 70 to 80 out of the top 100 viewed programs in the United States of America are National Football League games. Like, it's not even close. Like, the dominance, it's not close, right?
Absolutely agree. Like, it has, even though things may have declined from the heyday, it's still nothing to be reckoned with. There is nothing on TV that I think even comes close into the legacy and the base of the respect and the eyeballs that the NFL commands. And as I've heard people say, like, the NFL, they own Thursday night. That is the truth. They own it. They own it on TV, and they know that. And like you said, Amazon saw that and was like, we can have a piece of this pie. And the longest time, Amazon, to start, when they kind of started the DSP side of the business and looking into display and video media and how they wanted to sell this space, they were focused on the very low funnel, right? It was all just straight e-com.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong, makes sense. They have the best data sets, they have user addresses, and they had and like, bots don't really sign into Amazon and create user profiles and buy stuff and get it sent to their house. So there's all these really cool benefits about, for me as a buyer, being on Amazon DSP that was value add and unique versus other DSPs and buying media elsewhere. But in recent years, as we've all seen, Amazon said, well, we can do more than just be the performance pony. We got other tricks, no problem. We can also bring the brand awareness in. And they have doubled down on that. The Amazon has an 11-year deal with the NFL worth 11 billion with a B.
With a B.
That is crazy. It's a crazy amount. And Netflix has paid 150 million for the rights to broadcast the Christmas games just this past year. Wild stuff.
And just it's time to have my morning magic mind. It's for on the YouTube. I'm shaking it up here, listener. Got it going on. It's the end of January here, kids, and this new just year of mental wealth. Okay, mental wealth. It's a mental performance shot. It's you shake it up. It's so good. Hold on. It's sweet. I just love the flavor. It keeps me focused, like I've talked about. It extends the caffeine with my coffee in the morning. I mean, it's an afternoon. You can have it anytime, really, anytime you want. So I love the Magic Mind. Yes, the stress level It's got everything. All the ingredients are pure. Okay, let's just be honest. All right, it's well sourced. It's fairly sourced. It's where the good stuff is. And I just have this, and it just gives me. I get locked in. I've talked about it a lot of time. I get focused. I'm a distracto boy. Okay, I mean, everybody jokes about ADD, HAD, whatever. You're talking to a kid. I mean, I was. That's me. I'm in on that. And so I have to do whatever I can do around my little environment, okay, to make sure that I am locked in and as focused as possible. And Magic Mind is just that's my deal. I I've said this many times. We have part of the fourth faithful 48 taking this. They love it. They've talked to me about it. They were with us and then they went away. Now they're back. And when they went away, I liked it so much I got my own. So I paid my own money. So that's how I feel about Magic Mind. I like it. I'm not an energy drink guy. I'm not. I'm a one cup of coffee guy. Um, so I'm not into all the caffeine, the stimulants, and all that other stuff, and the insulin shockers and the energy up and down. This is just smooth and easy, man. It's good. I like it. It's quick. I've got a habit with it. But the cool thing that it's relatively new is now they have Magic Sleep, which I have been enjoying because again, inside this little, between the ears, the noggin here, I got, I mean, stuff is happening. All right. It's going on. And to shut that down, to ease it on down, ease on down the road, that takes something. And Magic Sleep is what I'm doing. And I like it. I don't know. It's just kind of nice and easy. Again, tastes great. It's fantastic. And here's the deal, kids. Okay, here's the big payoff. If you've heard me talk about this, we got a lot of new listeners. Like, what's this guy going on? Go check out Magic Mind, okay? MagicMind.com. And then if you want to get 45% off, which that's wow, 45% off the bundle, you get Magic Mind and Magic Sleep. Go to magicmind.com/always off brand Jan, Jan. Just a few more minutes, a few more days for that. God, we're really coming down to it. But that's what you want to do, okay? Always off brand Jan. That's the ticket. All right. Put that in. I'm on the YouTube. I'm going to point down to it. See right there. There you go. magicmind.com/always off brand Jan, Jan, to get 45% off. And I'm telling you, it's complimentary. Okay. It's the bundle that we all love and need. Magic Mind, Magic Sleep. Love it. Do it. Back to Iesha. I'm
Right.
glad you brought up Netflix. We didn't practice that transition, Iesha. So Joe Pompliano is a sports business content creator, and he covers this. And I follow him. He's a great follow. Follow him. He has a podcast. He has a newsletter. He has all kinds of stuff. I wanted to kind of just play this in.
Should scare the hell out of every TV network and also the NBA. So Netflix has spent years telling everyone they weren't interested in live sports. The idea was simple. Netflix thought sports rights were too expensive and that there was no path to profitability. But then everything changed a few years ago. After seeing subscriber growth slow, Netflix added an advertising-supported subscription tier. This meant customers could pay a lower monthly price to deal with commercials. But it also opened a new path for Netflix to get into live sports. You see, premium sports rights are perfect for Netflix because advertisements are already baked into the viewing experience, meaning Netflix can show ads to customers on both its advertising-supported plan, but also its traditional plan, too.
Aha! I'm just going to pause it there, Aisha, because the crazy thing is Amazon did the same thing.
Yes.
Right? They started adding, hey, I'll never forget, we covered this. I think you were on the show, actually, maybe. I remember my wife was just irate when she got the bill for $2.99 a month because she didn't want to see the ads.
Right, yeah.
So Netflix did the same thing right here. So,
yes.
I mean, they're essentially double dipping, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's funny what's old is new again, because that's what, like, in a way, it's what linear does too, right? They have commercial breaks, but then there's also sponsorships and stuff that go in to the games when they're live. So it's funny, like, nothing's really new in this. It's just a new method rather of delivering the content. I think what's also interesting is we just came off of the first televised fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, right? Or was it Logan Paul? I can't keep up with the Pauls.
Logan
Whichever one it
Paul. I
was.
think it's Logan Paul
Logan Paul.
and Mike Tyson,
So
right? And they're a big buffering, and there was a huge
yes,
controversy. And
exactly.
they said Netflix reported, and that's the other thing, Iesha. I don't know if my sports media guys take the reporting from saying the viewership from Amazon and from Netflix just with a little bit of grain of salt. I mean, they said they had 60 million viewers worldwide watch that fight.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, okay, maybe it was 40. Maybe, again, it's still huge. Nobody's
Yes.
discrediting that. Do you take that with a little grain of salt, the numbers these guys report out, or no?
I mean, I'm sure that there's, how do I put this politely? I'm sure that there's a little bit of, people. I think the better question is like, how many people watch through to the end, or how many people watch to the
Yeah.
midpoint?
I mean, as you're selling that inventory, right? And there's
Yes.
advertisers willing to pay. There's a rate card for that, and it's based upon historical viewership numbers.
Yes.
And other things. So the point is, it was massive.
Yes.
It was massive. So then they did the Tom Brady roast, right? Their strategy on Netflix, I think they're the biggest competitor to Amazon and, Netflix commerce. I joke about it, but my God, I mean, they could leverage that.
Oh, yes.
They took the Paul, and then everybody's freaked out. And then they bought those 150 million you just said about the Christmas. Well, God, their PR department, which all of them are going to do the same thing, said it was like the largest Christmas viewing ever.
Yes. And then, they were jokingly calling it the Beyonce Bowl. Like they even threw a little extra in, you see Beyonce perform. And I think it's really interesting to like step into this space and see how these things are changing. In particular, just yesterday, this is hot off the press, Amazon announced a brand new product for buyers in the Amazon DSP called Brand Plus. Cute name.
Yes. Jeff Cohen I just saw his thing on that. Yeah.
And so the goal is to kind of further accelerate this transition and the perception of Amazon of only being a performance oriented like outcome, right? And just focusing solely on e-commerce. What Brand Plus is going to do is it allows you to build these brand awareness campaigns that are really geared towards connected TV and so streaming. And this will include all of the live sports content. And don't forget, like, we're talking about NFL, but Amazon has over 9 different live sports available to watch.
Oh, you want to know? I have it pulled up right here. They just signed a huge 11-year global media rights with the NBA. Now, the NBA, everybody goes, oh, they're down. Let's just put this in perspective, okay? I think this is important. So the Beyonce Bowl, okay, that peaked at 27 million viewers, okay? The playoff game, an average NFL Sunday 4:00 Eastern game will get about 22, 23 million viewers. The lowest, the Thursday night, the crappiest teams, the shittiest lineup, that'll get around 11 to 15 million.
Yep.
And then, the number one CBS primetime, my wife likes the tracker and it says the number one watched over 60 million. Well, I looked at the rating again. If a network television show gets anywhere from like 7 to 11 million on average, it's killing it. It's getting the highest ad revenue, right?
Yes.
Am I in that range? And by the way, the Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs game, I haven't seen the ratings yet. I bet you that's a 60 million viewers. That's probably 55, somewhere to 50 to 60.
Right. And the thing that's so like interesting about this that I think isn't being discussed as much is that all of the viewership data for these platforms, particularly for Amazon, and I can speak to this because I am an Amazon DSP buyer, is I can go into the Amazon DSP right now and make a custom audience for people in the last 30, 60, 90 days, whatever I want, and ask if they've watched Thursday Night Football, and then target those people across not only the Amazon properties, so I could even target them across Thursday Night Football again, or I could target them across, a different sport, or what's one of the like latest Netflix shows? I think we're coming back to Mr. and Mrs. Smith season 2, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But in addition, also Amazon has also made inroads with other inventory providers. Dotdash Meredith is a very large provider that they've made inroads with.
Okay.
They've also, I believe they've also done it with News Corp. So like there's all these additional like areas we're going to be able to take these viewership audiences and find them across the internet for whether that's e-com, whether that's for brand awareness, performance, however you want to, shape it, you're going to get that choice. And that's something that, before has always been quite inferential. You've had to use other sorts of providers to do so, like maybe like a Samba TV data provider or somebody like that. But again, that's maybe a bit more inferential. It's based on automated content recognition and, based off of if there's a chip if you have a smart TV and there's a certain chip in your TV, and if they're seeing that you watched so much of the video or whatever, and then they're having to link back and, find, am I the same person who watched on my television as I am the same person who's, browsing, CNN.com on my phone? Amazon doesn't have to worry about that. It's all one user, right? They know who I am. They have my email address. They know what devices, they know my address. They know so much information. So this is just another like arrow in the quiver for them. And I think Netflix will follow suit shortly with the Xandr DSP.
I agree. So again, I'm just kind of scrolling here on the YouTube, right? This is the big media rights leagues that they've done. So the NBA I just talked about, that's 66 regular season games. There's some other intricacies on regional sports networks that they've kind of taken over and bought ownership in. The WNBA, which is the fastest growing. I have 2 daughters. Yay, women. I love the WNBA. I grew up in Iowa. Caitlin Clark. Yes, go. But this is averaging between 1.5 and 2.5 million, and they're getting even 18 to 19 million. So that's a huge thing. NASCAR, they've got the NASCAR. They have National Women's Soccer League. They have, again, if you look at European, they have the NHL in Canada, which is a huge property. New York Yankees, they have our Seattle Kraken here in Seattle. And then their original sports. I mean, just like Netflix, just like everything. And they've been doing this for a long time when they bought MGM Studios, right? And that's the other inventory gold mine they have is owned content that they can leverage and sell off of.
Absolutely. And you're missing something also is that a lot of this stuff is simul-streamed on Twitch, which Amazon owns. So there's even more layers to this. People who maybe want a slightly untraditional experience, they're watching their, I don't know, I don't really watch, I'm not a Twitch user, but if I'm watching my favorite streamer commentating on top of the game, Amazon is allowed for this. And it's another way to tap in. And again, more data and even more opportunities to advertise, because Twitch also has an ad-supported streaming tier.
Well, the other big thing, and we're flipping over, we're kind of going back and forth, right? So Amazon kind of set the print, and then Netflix was, like Joe Pompliano said, they're kind of like secretly, like under the radar, they're kind of like building this thing up. And then bam, the Christmas 2 games on Christmas NFL was a huge one. But then their earnings report came out and they had a 16% increase in subscriptions. Their revenue was off the charts. And I just want to play this little clip. This is from CNBC. This is like, I'm totally nerding out here. This is an arms race, Iesha, right?
Yes.
Because this is crazy town, the numbers, and because the captive audience and the entertainment value. Here's just a quick thing they were talking about after the earnings came out, which it just went bonkers.
North America president at Genius Sports, former president and CEO of both ESPN and NFL Network. Steve, along the way, welcome to you. You also developed the X Games and Winter X Games. So I think you're kind of experts in this kind of alternative approach to sports outside of the mainstream. What do you make of Netflix's moves so far and how they might extend what's brought it benefit so far?
Well, I think they've done everything right. I mean, you can't think of a mistake or a misstep that they've made as they pursue the sports audience. And that's their business, really. I mean, they're in the business of aggregating audiences. And for a long time they didn't really feature live sports or live sporting events, but now they've seemed to gotten the bug and they seem to be doing everything correct.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. Iesha, what do you think? What does that mean for ad revenue? What does that mean for brands, marketers? Whether you're on Amazon or not on Amazon, what does that mean? And is it an opportunity for Netflix because now they're getting into live sports? And Genius, by the way, I know it's a long question. They just signed the Women's World Cup to be the exclusive rights holder for Women's World Cup, which is a massive number.
There's a lot to like unpack, and I think the biggest opportunity like here is if we're going back even like 5-6 years ago, and we think about the inception of linear all the way through, right? And how people pay through the nose, pay through the nose, millions to be, have a Super Bowl spot, millions and millions, right?
Yeah,
For
like
a 30
7 million
spot.
or something for a 30-second or something. That was, I don't know what they're quoting this year.
Like crazy numbers. And now with the democratization of these products and being available on Netflix, being available on Amazon, and then each of these having DSP entry points, you don't have to be, a Unilever to be able to get in front of people on Thursday Night Football or Monday Night Football or whatever it is, whatever you're looking for. You don't have to have that crazy amount of money. The nice part is like Amazon has two options for buying. There's guaranteed, which means you're like a locked in rate. You pay a flat rate. The rate varies depending on what you're doing, what day it is, and the seasonality and how competitive it is. But you have a rate, and you would basically you have your CPM, and you would be contracted so many impressions based off that CPM and the budget you've input. There's also non-guaranteed, which basically means you're willing to duke it out with other folks, bidding live, and and you get what you get, and you don't get upset. Maybe you only spend $100, maybe you get lucky, and other advertisers aren't spending so much, and they're not having to fight so much, and you able to spend 10K, 20K, 50K. So this evolution, 10K, 50K is crazy when you think about how much historically brands have had to pay to be on, to have have a commercial appear on linear. And now, folks like me who do not have any specialized TV, historical TV linear buying experience, because that is historically has been a very specific niche set.
Absolutely.
And you're in it, and you're in that career for like, 30, 40 years. I can go into the Amazon DSP right now and reach out to my Amazon DSP rep and get a deal set up for any of my clients. It's quite simple. So yeah, the democratization of it is just completely accelerated.
And my thesis on this that I've talked about a lot is because Amazon is the sports rights, and they actually now are a major, I think they're a majority owner of Diamond, these regional sports next. These are 37 different things with baseball, NBA, MLB, various other things. What I see is the inventory. I see that they're going to have more inventory to sell across all of these sports, across all these markets, all these regions than ever before. So I see even further down, even below DSP, because we have display and search, right? It's a poor man's DSP, but they're going to sit. I just envision them going, hey, you want to buy a Seattle Mariners game on July 5th and you want to do a package? And we basically, here's why, because the market is specifically for you, and here's the target, blah, blah, blah. I just see that like it's going to be ginormous.
Yes, I totally agree. And with the introduction of Brand Plus, which, like I said, Amazon announced yesterday, this is going to accelerate, because it's now, before you had to kind of reach out to your Amazon DSP rep, which, is fine, and like get on a short list of approval, and it takes a few extra steps. It's not awful, but it's a few extra steps. Now with Brand Plus, it's AI powered. So I would go into the platform and I would select a specific campaign type to appear on these streaming publishers, and bada bing, bada boom, that's it. And as long as you're allow listed for it, it's fine. And like Amazon and Netflix, I'm sure they have, particular advertisers that they would not allow to, advertise on their platforms, which is fine. That's their choice. But by and large, like I said, like you said, it's going to proliferate. The democratization is growing. It's only going to accelerate. I don't think we're going to return to, I think, some of the historical things where, like you are explaining before, where like certain networks lock up the rights, basically in a perpetuity until, something changes. you know, and the NFL is a great example. They've got Thursday Night Football on Amazon, and then they have the Christmas games on Netflix. And they're, you know, they're kind of picking and choosing how they want to move forward. And the last things that I saw when I was doing some searches online is that NFL seems quite happy with both partners, from what I can tell. They're not upset. They're not going to say, oh, we're moving everything over to Amazon, we're moving everything over to Netflix. I think they're like, you know what, we're going to continue to explore both of these opportunities, because, and the best part is there's enough for everybody.
Yeah, because they're traditional partners in the CBSs and Fox, right? They have a North America, they have a United States, their audience is pretty locked in. What you see with Netflix and Amazon and large streamers, and even Peacock's trying to do it, and Paramount Plus and all these other things, is global, right? There's a global audience, and that's what the NFL wants. They want to continue to grow global audience. And so they don't care. That's number one. Number two, the biggest attractiveness for the NFL and NBA and all these guys is, like, I'm a 55-year-old white guy. Like, they're not talking to me. They need 18 to 34. And what has happened over the last 2 years for Amazon, just on Thursday night, they have lowered their audience demographics dramatically that they could not get with CBS. They could not get with Fox. They could not get with NBC Sunday Night Football. And that is also, talk about planting seeds. That is a huge deal to them, isn't that?
Yes. They've basically, what Netflix and Amazon have done is fish where the fish are. They know that people of a specific generational age, so like your, you know, mid to younger millennials and Gen Z, they don't have cable. They don't want it. And that's fine. And so the demographics have changed for who watches linear and who chooses to be a cord cutter. And that's fine. And so what these two powerhouses have done is said, well, we're going to hedge our bets, and we're going to split the differences across these different networks and these different platforms, so we can continue to grow. Because like you said, if you're expecting the youth to tune in to Thursday Night Football, but it's happening only on, you know, CBS, the likelihood is, you know, perhaps they're not going to tune in. So you can't cut your nose off to spite your face. The best way to do that is to fish where the fish are, and the fish are on Netflix. The fish are on Amazon Prime.
Well, I don't know nothing about nothing, but Iesha White, I'm telling you, you are positioned perfectly, because you understand and can translate and deploy the right amount of dollars in the right places. And the live sports get the biggest ad money. That's just, that's fact.
Yeah.
They drive so much revenue. And as this landscape change, I'm telling you, you're positioned perfectly, because as it democratizes and it's not Unilever and these huge enterprise big brands, and it gets down to mid-market, hey, they got it. You telling me I got a shot? You telling me I can, if my creative, there's a lot of rules, people, by the way, don't listen to this and think that you can get, you know, everything on there. There's a lot of, which are smart regulations. So the creative has to be a certain thing. There's a lot of rules, but the opportunity could be there the next 2 to 3 years. I think this is going to be fascinating to watch.
Absolutely. And there's all sorts of cool things that Amazon and Netflix have on the horizons, where they're going to allow people to do geo-targeting in addition to targeting these specific programs. Their rumor is they're going to allow audience targeting to be layered on top. Currently, they don't really allow for that. You know, they're looking to increase scale, but as these things grow, we're going to see the capabilities improve. And so it's interesting that it's going to really end up as a form of precision marketing. So even though this feels like linear, a bit rehashed on the face, the truth of the matter is that there's a precision element that linear doesn't quite have. So
yes. And the win for Amazon is they can collapse the funnel still, right? They can take the measurement of it for key executives and huge finance and all these big marketers and advertisers is like, wow, you can actually, I have digital data to show me who watched, when they watched, how they watch, what other things they like. And then I can follow it all the way down if I really want. And did they buy something on Amazon?
Absolutely.
And so that's the other thing. I'll get you out of here on this, I guess. You mentioned Walmart has a DSP, Microsoft has a DSP. The other thing is, I mean, Walmart doesn't own any content, which is my bitch about them.
Well, they only own Tubi. They own part of Tubi, I think.
Do they? I thought that's a Fox. Fox owns Tubi, and they're the Super Bowl is going to be on Tubi for free, by the way.
wild stuff. Everything's changing.
But
I
like
think maybe I'm
Pluto
wrong.
and all this other business, the conversion rates have to be very low. I don't know anything, but
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They bought the TV brand, Walmart did.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not coming to mind?
Vizio, I think.
Vizio, correct. They don't own any content, Iesha. What are they selling?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole joke about retail media networks now, right? Amazon, Amazon was kind of, first and best in market. But I mean, even Home Depot, they don't have a DSP, but they have a retail media network. Target has a retail media network. But yeah, Walmart is special. Walmart's DSP sits inside of the Trade Desk DSP. So it's
Okay.
like, it's odd. It's a very unique use case. I think it's the only one that I'm aware of that exists in this way. But yeah, Netflix doesn't own any Walmart doesn't own any content. But Walmart said, no, we don't own any content, but we do allow for, certain sorts of rentals, and we have quite a lot of retail stuff to sell you, and we have all this audience data. And yeah, if you want to, do streaming and you want closed loop attribution, we got you covered. So it wouldn't surprise me if Walmart also ends up making forays into these sorts of things, because they're trying to compete with Amazon in a different way.
I think they should.
Yeah.
Should. All right, Iesha, you're fabulous. I could talk about this for so much longer. Where can people find you? How do they connect with you? How do they go to multitudesmarketing.com and see what you do and how much you charge and all that kind of fun stuff? Because we gotta get you going here. I mean, you're already going, but we gotta get you more loving.
Oh, I appreciate that. So yes, please check me out at www.multitudesmarketing.com. I also have a LinkedIn page, so you can always reach out to me, Iesha White. And you can also follow Multitudes Marketing on LinkedIn. And yeah, you can also hit me up at Iesha@multitudesmarketing.com. That's my email.
You're the official, media buyer expert for the Always Off Brand podcast. That's it. I don't know. We got to come up with a cleaner title, but that's it. All right. You've been awesome. Thanks for coming to the show. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I think this makes number 3. So
does it? It's number 3? I couldn't remember.
I think it's number 3. So I'm excited. The third time is the charm, as they say. So I was excited to be here.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for nerding out on me. We'll, I don't know if we'll be back. This could be the end. This could be the wrap. It might be the wrap of the show. I don't know. But like it, share it. Bye-bye. Remember, people matter. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right.
Hey there, this is Haley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.